All right, Shavua Tov. We're jumping into Likutey Moharan. It's Rabbi Nachman, the magnum opus of epicness. And this is Torah Lamed Gimel. And this starts with a quote from Tehillim, from King David, from Psalms, where he pulls this verse that is, Mi ha'ish hachafetz chaim ohev yamim lirot tov. So who is this person who desires life? And it's the person who loves days of seeing good, or who sees good in their days. So this is this verse that's sort of the Torah, or whatever that we're going to jump into, is based on this verse. And Rabbi Nachman takes these verses that we could read in Tehillim and Psalms, and we just read it and don't really connect to the depth of it, or what the psalmist is actually talking about. So there's like the mashal, that is like the thing that is happening outside of us, which is happening right now, unfortunately, in Israel, we could see. But then there's what's happening within us. And how do we mintaken that? How do we rectify that for ourselves? How do we inspire others to fix all of these things that are within themselves that they need to fix, so that we could actually bring the redemptive, the personal redemption, prati, but also this communal redemption, the redemption klali. So haklal hu shetzarich levakesh shalom. So the principle is that a person should pursue peace. Sheyeh shalom ben Yisrael v'sheyeh shalom l'chol adam b'midotav. So that there should be peace between Israel, or the Jews. Right now, it's more than ever, we need peace in Israel, because that represents the entire world. When there's peace within Israel and for the Jewish people, then that's representative of there being peace around the entire universe. Sheyeh shalom l'chol adam b'midotav. And then also that there should be peace within each person, within their attributes. So when we're talking about the sfirot, the 7 emotional attributes, but the 10 sfirot, so this tree of life, so there's chokhmah, bina, da'at, so that's in the mochin, that's over here. Then when we move down within the koma, within the body, so then there's these 7 emotional attributes, with chesed, gvura, tiferet, and going down to malchut. So the idea of having this peace between your emotional attributes, that is representative of peace within yourself, which can mirror for the other person and eventually for the world. So when we're talking about midotav, here it's these attributes, and then we're going to jump further into what that means and how it correlates to the day, and then how that manifests itself outside of that. Hainu shelo yeh mechulak b'midotav u'b'malotav, shelo yeh lo chiluk ben b'tivo ben ba'aku. So basically, this is this idea of equanimity, of how Rabbi Nachman in Reish Pebet, in lesson 282, he's talking about this seeing the good. And when Rab Natan brings in Likutey Halachot, he starts off with this lesson, and it's this idea of equanimity as seen also in another pasuk from Tehillim, which is Shiviti Hashem lenegdi tamid, that you're placing God in front of you at all times. But this word Shiviti, which is shaveh, which is, it is all equal, that it's equal to me, this equanimity, this sort of stoicism, and this idea that if everything is for the ultimate good, then whether it is good or seemingly bad to me now, it is still good, because it's still part of this journey. And if Shiviti Hashem lenegdi tamid, if you have Hashem, if God is placed before you, meaning that emunah, that faith, that trust in God is always in front of you, and that's at the forefront of everything that you're going through, then it's all shaveh. Then whatever is happening, b'midotav, b'malotav, whether it seems like it's for the good or it's for the bad, it's all the same. Shelo yeh lo chiluk, that the person shouldn't have this even discrepancy, ben b'tivu, ben ba'akum, that whether it's seemingly for the good or for the bad, because ultimately it is all for the good. Tamid yimtza bo Hashem yitbarach, because this person will always find within this thing God and the ultimate oneness. Hainu b'Hashem alel davar, b'Elokim alel davar. So this is amazing, because Rabbi Nachman is cluing us in to this equanimity, even by not misquoting, but sort of misquoting this Tehillim, this verse from Psalms, because here he's quoting it in reverse. In Psalms it says, B'Elokim alel davar, meaning when I see Hashem interacting as Elohim, as this sort of more stern in nature, because Elohim and Hateva has the same gematria, and it's how we see God within nature. So it's sort of sometimes seen as this judgment, this severity and all that. And then B'Hashem, Alel Deval, the Shem Havayah, the Tetragrammaton, the 4-letter name of Hashem, this ultimate oneness. When we're saying the Shema, we're saying that the name Hashem and Elohim is actually the same. Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, that both of those names are one. So when we're viewing God in severity and judgment in the things that are happening within nature, and we feel that we're being judged, and it's this harshness, and all of the things there's this darkness permeating the reality of where we're at in this world right now, the Shema, that prayer, is our meditation that we're saying that no, Elohim, Alel Davar, Melech David is saying, no, when I am treated in this world through how I view Hashem as Elohim, as this judgment, at this severity, I will praise his name. And B'Hashem, when it's the Shem Havayah, the Tetragrammaton, when it's the all-merciful God, where there is no separation of good and bad, and it's all good, Ahalel Deval, I will praise his name. And what Rabbi Nachman is saying here is he's flipping the order to even further prove that it really makes no difference, that it's the same thing, that he's misquoting or flipping the order of one of the verses from King David, from Melech David, because he's saying it's all the same. And if you can realize that, that's the entire purpose of this lesson, which is this equanimity, which is not viewing the bad or the good as separate, but ultimately that it's all for the good, and it's just how we're viewing it. And it's these constant tests, and eventually we'll pass it. Eventually we could tap into this initial verse from Tehillim that Rabbeinu is bringing us. Mi ha'isha chafetz chaim. Who is this person who desires life? Who is the person that is connected to life? Ohev yamim lirot tov. The person that sees good in their days. So when we're thinking about these countries that are attacking Israel, are these people that desire life? No, they talk about life and death are the same to us. We want, they want the next world. We want to use this world to earn the next world. But the Lubavitcher Rebbe always says, what's your purpose in this world? This Ratzov V'Shov, this going up to the highest levels and connecting in alignment to the divine, to the source, but always bringing that back down so you could affect change in this world. And the Rambam is saying, there's good in the world and there's bad in the world, but the world is equally balanced. So with one good deed, with one mitzvah, with one good action, we can tip the scales of the world to positivity. And the Lubavitcher Rebbe says, even one thought. And if you're reading Tanya, weekly Tanya, so the last bunch from the Alter Rebbe is talking about this difference between machshava, between mitzvot, between action, and between machshava. And it's amazing because he's bringing from the Talmud, from the Gemara, where there's this shelo lishma, ba lishma. The person who is doing something not for the sake of heaven, not for the sake of connecting, because we're told to do this good deed, and I'm following God in this way and trying to bring light into this world. But the person who might not be doing it lishma, meaning the person who might be doing it for kavod, for their own honor, or for selfish reasons, ba lishma, meaning it's still good because eventually it's going to go to the good. And the Alter Rebbe, based on the Zohar in Tanya, if you're doing daily Tanya, he's talking about that all of these prayers and all of these mitzvot and all the different things that you're doing, even if you're doing it not in alignment, not in the ultimate oneness and the space of connecting, and because we're told to do this and we're doing it because it's for the ultimate good, after the fact, this Torah will stay with you and can get elevated. So meaning, if this didn't reach the highest, there's the 4 worlds, and it didn't reach the upper worlds, so it stayed in this klipat noga, in the shells and the coverings, and it didn't reach where you're trying to reach. But later, you have one prayer, you have one calling out to God, and Melech David, we're talking about Tehillim here, so we're talking about how can God desires the heart. God doesn't desire these sacrifices. He desires the broken heart. So the broken heart, Chana, who prayer is basically inspired by Chana and her broken heart and calling out to God. So it's this element of calling out to God, and we can do it with kavanah, with the proper intention. So even the Alter Rebbe says even one prayer with full kavanah can basically take these fallen sparks, or take these ones that didn't reach where they were trying to reach, and bring them up. So this Torah comes with you to the next world, but even in this world, it's going to the spiritual realms. So by what means can a person find God in this chiluk, in this discrepancy of this bad and good, and we're putting all these judgments on it. So the idea is when we're talking about this separation of the emotional attributes, right? So chesed is on one side, gevura is on one side, so we have loving kindness, and then we have severity or restraint or judgment. And then in the middle, we have the shepherd that is Yaakov, that is Jacob, that represents Tiferet, which is harmony. So here he's saying, how are we going to find this harmony? And I just realized this now because I love when Rabbi Natan says, Val yedei ma yitorer et atzmo, he's saying on behalf of what can a person awaken themselves. So here, Rabbi Nachman, which is on my jacket that I just made for my show on Thursday, he's saying, Val yedei ma yimtza Hashem yitbarach ben b'tuvah. So it sounds like it's a question. How are we going to find God in this bad and good? How are we going to find God, right? But it's also the answer, because it's saying ma is this idea of self-nullification, of this questioning, of something that is above chokhmah. What's above wisdom? What's above understanding? That is the space of ma. That's the space of atzilut. It's above all of these things. So what Rabbeinu, it sounds like he's saying, on behalf of what? On behalf of ma, are you going to find God in the bad? The same way that you find God in the good. So here he's actually saying, he's answering it. The question is actually the answer. He's saying, Vayadei ma, you're going to find, wow, I don't know how we jumped to that. I don't even know how to switch the things. Hold on. Okay, I think we switched back. So he's saying that the question is actually the answer. It's through this self-nullification, through removing chokhmah, bina, da, through removing all this intellectual, these ways to feeling like you're understanding everything. We can't understand it. It's above that. So it's the space of atzilut. It's the space above even the 10 tefillot as the way that we interact with it in this world, this tree of life. So when we go into the space that is bitul, that is this self-nullification, that is suspending our judgments, that's how we're able to connect to God in the seemingly bad or in the good. Al yedei Torah v'nikraat Shalom. So here it's saying further that through the Torah, which is called Shalom, so the Torah is called peace. So through this Torah that is called peace, this is how we're going to find Hashem Yitbarach. This is how we're going to find God within the seemingly bad. Kama da'at amar. So v'chol netivotea Shalom. So this is from Mishlei. This is from Melech Shlomo, that he's saying that all of the ways, all the paths are peaceful. All the paths of Hashem are peaceful. So you can find peace in anything in creation because it's all from peace. And all the Torah is peace. And the Zohar says that Torah and Hashem and Bnei Israel, they're all one. So there's no separation amongst these things. Vayedei tzadikim shnikru gam ken brit shalom. So also through the righteous people, the righteous ones, but also we have to find the righteousness, the tzaddik within ourselves. So all of these things that we're talking about, it's outside of ourselves, but it's also within ourselves. So v'al yedei, not only the Torah, not only suspending judgment and suspending even your own understanding of anything. So this is beyond wisdom. So v'al yedei tzaddik or tzaddikim, but here we can also think of ourselves through the righteousness, and tzaddik, righteousness, and tzedakah, it's all the same. So tzedakah, it said that charity, it's equal to all of the mitzvot in the world. And why is that? It's because we're toiling in this world, and that's one of the sins of Adam, that we actually have to work, and we have to do all this stuff, and we have to struggle, and it creates so much fear and anxiety for a lot of people. And this is how we get mammon, this is how we get money, this is how we live. And tzedakah, when you're giving charity, it's you're taking all of this that you've struggled with, all of the things that were so complicated to make this money, to have a livelihood, to have emunah, to even have faith in God. So you're taking that and you're giving it away. So when you're giving it away, that's this tzedakah, this act of righteousness, this charity, which holds the same root. This is representative of all of the toiling in this world. So that's why it's equal to all the other commandments, to all the other mitzvot, because it's you taking all of this from all the things you've done in the past that you're even doing now, which is showing that you have faith in God, that more money is going to come because you're giving away money now. So it's representative of that. So here it's saying, Vayedei tzadikim shenikru gam ken brit shalom. So these tzadikim, these righteous people who are also called the covenant of peace. So we can tap into that within ourselves. Umachmad zeh yechol lehov et hashalom bekol makom. So as a result of this, you'll be able to love and find the peace within every situation. Hen bitivo, and it says v'chulu, which is saying that bitivo, be'aku, in the good or in the bad, v'yechol liyot shalom ben Yisrael, lehov zeh et zeh. And then this is when there will be peace amongst all of Israel. Now it seems more relevant than ever that there should be peace in Israel, which represents peace for all people. If there's peace in Israel, there's peace for all people. Let's say it a couple more times. If there is peace in Israel, there is peace for all people. And here it's saying, if there's peace amongst the people in Israel, and we have this love amongst each other, this is connecting to peace for all people. And jumping back to the first pasuk, which we're right over here, Mi ha'ish hachafetz chaim ohev yamim lirot tov. Who is this person who desires life? The person who likes to see, who sees good in their days. The person who sees good in everything. The person who finds that good point within each person and is able to have that color how they look at every single person and themselves. So that is what is motivating the person who sees good, who has the desire for life. It's the person who sees good. Because you could be in life and not connected to it whatsoever. You could pray that your life is over, you don't wake up, you're in a very depressive state, you're completely done. So you're in life, but you're not connected to life. So the idea is we have to always see the good in each other, and we have to see the good within ourselves so that we can always be connected in life to life. And I think the Ishbitzer Rebbe says, like, what's the most precious thing in this world? And he answers that it's life itself. That's the most precious thing. But we have to be connected to life. We have to be connected to seeing the good for that to be even precious. So I'm just praying for all people. There should be peace. Sorry, people keep texting me. It's very distracting. There should be peace for all people. Now more than ever, the peace that is with Israel, that represents peace from around the world, should manifest now. The redemption should come now. And that can come from all of us leading with love, leading with good deeds, leading with good thoughts. And if the world is recreated at every moment, then every good thought and every good deed and leading with love will keep us in the space of the redemption, and we could be in the redemptive state now. I love you guys so much. Shavua Tov. It should be a beautiful week. And just a little bit and more and more and more light that we mirror within each other when we see each other and we bring out into the world should dispel all of the darkness that we're seeing now. And that should be wiped out. The Sitra Achra, the evil inclination, the Yetzer Hara, that should be wiped out. And it should be dispelled from even just a little bit of light, like a little bit, and a little candle in a dark room where it could actually illuminate it. And we could see that the darkness and the negativity is all just an imagination. It's the koach hamedama. It's just imagination. Let's get rid of it now. Love you guys. See you soon.